Hey guys, tonight we embark on a journey back to the cradle of sleep science. Only you probably won't survive this without feeling utterly relaxed. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. But only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And hey, drop your location and local time in the comments so we know where in the world you're drifting off from. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You stand at the edge of a broad river, its channels dividing the fertile plains of olden Mesopotamia. The air holds a hush, as though the world itself waits for dusk to breathe out its secrets. Flickering torchlight bounces on mud brick walls, shadows pirouetting across low doorways. You feel the fine grain of wind-blown clay under your sandals, each footstep stirring dust that glints like tiny stars in the twilight. A gentle chant drifts from an open doorway temple priests, murmuring prayers to the moon goddess. You slip past them, your breathing slow, your senses tuned to every rustle of papyrus reeds. In this place, around 17 centuries before the first Egyptian dynasty, sleep potions and clay pillows are not luxury, but lifelines. Mainstream scholars date the Sumerian city-states to around 4,500 years ago, a time when writing was new, and the notion of peaceful rest was still emerging. You press your palm to a low bench, cool from the day's heat. A small bowl sits on it, filled with a cloudy infusion that smells of river reeds and honeyed dates. A wizened woman nods at you, her fingertips rough from grinding herbs. She offers you the cup, its rim chipped, but worn smooth by countless lips. You lift it, hesitant, and sip. The liquid coats your tongue with a sweetness that lingers like a half-remembered lullaby. You cast your eyes around the courtyard, rows of clay pillows lined like ceremony chairs. They vary in shape, some flat and circular, others sculpted with raised edges to cradle the neck. Each pillow bears simple incised markings, symbols of the moon, meant to channel lunar calm. You recall that these people believed dreams were direct messages from God's bridges between the waking mind and hidden realms. Fringe texts suggest they sometimes poked tiny holes in their pillows to let whispered prayers escape. Though experts think this might be myth, a breeze stirs carrying distant laughter of children reluctant to head home for bedtime. You walk the narrow path between rows, a ritual footpath etched in dust. Your fingers brush the cool clay of a pillow embossed with a winding serpent design. The serpent, a symbol of rebirth and renewal, promises safe passage through the dark realms of sleep. You breathe deep, letting the clay's faint mineral scent mingle with the herbal tang still lingering on your tongue. You bend to a low altar, an offering of barley arranged in concentric circles. The barley, staple grain served as both food and sleep stabilizer. It's thought that proteins in barley release tryptophan, though historians still argue whether the effect was truly soporific. You trace the pattern with a fingertip, feeling the slight give of husk under your nail. You sense the care poured into this practice, generation after generation, refining every measure. A lead tablet lies beside the offering, its surface etched with cuneiform script. You run a light finger over the symbols, each wedge-shaped mark a syllable in a song to the goddess Nana. The script describes rituals, how to prepare a vial of opium-infused wine mixed with ground chamomile and poppy seeds. It even cautions to avoid coriander seeds, said to stir restless dreams. This record, a mainstream artifact from the city of shows how seriously they approached sleep. You pocket a small shard of clay, its broken edge smooth. The shard resonates with the hum of history, echoes of every sleeper who leaned their head upon its kin. You imagine their dreams, visions of winged bulls and buried treasures, vivid as any waking thought. You recall that some Sumerian texts prescribe dream interpretation, guiding the sleeper to decode symbols by dawn's first light. As the last glow of sunset slips beyond the horizon, the courtyard lamps flicker alive. Each flame dances in silent applause, lighting your way to a central pavilion. There, an elder reclines on a raised dais, eyes gleaming with the calm of someone who has seen too many sleepless nights turned restful. She beckons you, voice low and melodic. Drink, child, let the olden wisdom weave through your mind. You approach, mind alert, heart steadying to a lull. She hands you a slender reed, dipped tip glistening with oil. You inhale, a scent of frankincense and juniper rising to meet you. The oil's aroma seeps into your sinuses, floating you toward a tranquil haze. Fringe whisperers say this reed was once dipped in tears of mourners, blended with nightshade to ease grief. Experts think that story might be an overreach, but the oil still carries a soothing weight. You close your eyes, each breath a deliberate dance, drawing in the scented mist. You feel gravity shift, your body growing heavier, your limbs yielding to the earth's pull. The elder begins to whisper an incantation, a soft string of words you cannot fully comprehend, but feel resonating in your bones. May the silver moon guide your spirit. She murmurs her voice, trailing like a silk scarf in still air. You drift, slipping beneath the threshold of consciousness, each heartbeat spreading warmth from chest to fingertips. Shapes around you blur, lamps become constellations, pillows the soft hills of some dream realm. Somewhere, a distant bird calls out, its lonely song folding into the night. You catch the echo of laughter, perhaps a memory, or a promise of laughter yet to come. The world recedes, leaving only the ebb and flow of your breath. You hover on the edge of reality, suspended between waking thought and the tapestry of dreams. Historians still argue whether these early potions truly altered sleep architecture or simply offered comfort in ritual. But here, in this moment, you feel embraced by something older than any city or king. Your final awareness centers on the clay pillow beneath your head, its curve fitting the hollow of your neck like a purpose-built cradle. You feel the earth's pulse rhythmic and unhurried, syncing with your own. And then, silence. You have surrendered to Sumerian slumber's first gift, the promise of rest woven from clay, herb, and moonlight. The night opens before you, its mysteries waiting to be dreamt. You step into a low-ceilinged workshop, warm air heavy, with clay dust and wood smoke. Long tables stand side by side, each scarred by generations of use. You inhale deeply, sensing the mineral tang of wet earth mingled with the sharp sweetness of goat hair. A cluster of artisans bends over a trough, hands kneading lumps of clay into pliable masses. Their arms move in practiced arcs, smearing clay across palms, as if molding time itself. You recall the clay pillow beneath your head, the way it cradled your neck like a gentle embrace. Now you watch its birth, each pillow emerging from skilled hands. An old man hums a simple tune, his voice a steady drone that blends with the scrape of pottery tools. He scoops a handful of clay, pressing it against a spinning wheel. The motion is smooth, thanks to an invention from around 3,500 years before, when the Sumerians first harnessed the pottery wheel's circular grace. Historians still argue whether they borrowed the idea from neighboring cultures or devised it themselves. You approach the wheel, feeling its gentle spin under your fingertip. A young apprentice offers you a tool, a pointed stick wrapped in leather. You draw a soft groove along the wet surface, tracing an arc that echoes the crescent moon. The master nods, approval in his gravelly murmur. He presses a strip of goat hair into the clay tiny lashes, creating ridges along the pillow's center. This design, he explains, helps cradle the neck and channel night air around the ears. You run your hand over the ridges, surprised by the cool, firm texture. A fringed tale says the goat hair came from mountain goats believed to wander between worlds, though experts think that story might be overblown. The master lifts the pillow, balancing it on a wooden paddle. He tips it toward a kiln mouth where flickering flames await. You feel the rush of heat hitting your face like the breath of a sleeping dragon. The clay sizzles, tiny fractures forming as water flees into steam. Nearby, a stack of finished pillows cools on woven mats. Each bears unique markings, zigzag patterns, or spirals carved into their surface. Some show little footprints, symbols of the goddess Nisaba, meant to guide dreamers safely into divine fields. You pick up a pillow marked with a stylized bull's head, its curved horns framing a small well. The artisan smiles, pointing out that bulls symbolized strength and protection in Sumerian belief. You tuck the pillow under your arm, its weight comforting. In the corner, a woman works at a mortar and pestle, grinding powdered calcite. She sprinkles the fine dust into a trough of wet clay, explaining that some workshops added ground shell to improve durability. Historians still argue whether this practice truly made the pillows last longer, or simply created a smoother finish. The scent of drying clay drifts across the room, warm and earthy. You watch as the woman presses a pillow's surface with a carved cylinder, rolling intricate floral patterns into the damp clay. Each petal seems to bloom beneath her touch, an art never before seen by modern eyes. You wander past racks of pillows, some conical, others flat discs. The shapes vary to suit different sleepers, those who preferred elevation for sinus relief, or a cradle form for neck support. A marketplace speech drifted in your memory, where Sumerian merchants touted pillows shaped like lions' paws, said to imbue the sleeper with courage. A quirky rumor claims their jaws once held tiny rattles to ward off nightmares, though experts think that might be fanciful. A breeze slides through a slit window, stirring loose clay dust into motes that shimmer like fireflies. You arch your back, releasing tension earned from long standing. The artisans work in near silence, save for the swish of tools and the master's occasional hum. You settle onto a low stool, lifting a just-fired pillow from its mat. Its surface is warm, vibrating softly under your palm. The artisan instructs you to press a fingertip into the clay, feeling for any weak spot. Your nail sinks slightly, then finds firm resistance. You nod, satisfied the pillow is sturdy. He guides you to a small basin filled with diluted honey and date syrup. He dips a brush, sweeps the mixture across the pillow's surface, sealing pores and adding a faint sheen. You taste a drop on your tongue, its sweetness warming your chest. A young scribe stands nearby, clipboard in hand, recording each pillow's weight and dimensions. You glimpse the tally. Pillows range between 2 and 5 pounds, crafted for head, shoulder, or thigh support. The scribe murmurs that every temple had its own pillow specifications, sometimes introduced by priests who claimed divine dreams directed their designs. Historians still argue whether such revelations were genuine or clever marketing. You finger the inscribed marks, the scribe's neat wedges spelling hopes for gentle sleep. A single symbol repeats across each pillow, shaped like a half moon with a dot. It signifies rest granted by Sin, the moon god. You imagine each sleeper tracing that symbol, with closed eyes, invoking lunar calm. Sunlight filters through the doorway, painting the workshop floor in golden bars. You notice a small stash of broken shards, rejects, deemed imperfect. An artisan explains they're crushed and added to the clay mix, recycling with thrift that defined Sumerian life. A fringe text claims those shards carry echoes of forgotten dreams. Though experts think that idea is poetic more than practical, you step to a raised platform where a kiln opening gapes like a yawning mouth. Flames flicker inside, lighting the rows of pillows arranged on clay shelves. The kiln master nods at you, handing you a heavy iron hook. He demonstrates how to remove a finished pillow, careful to avoid chipping its edges. Your turn arrives. You hook the front pillow, lift it out. The heat radiates through your simple tunic, making your hair cling to your neck. You set the pillow on a stone slab, fanning your palms over it until the air around you grows cooler. The clay's color shifts from rust to deep terracotta, you walk back into the workshop, cradling the pillow like a sleeping child. A colleague watches with amusement, whispering that some Sumerians believed pillows, shaped like infants, soothed mothers nearing childbirth. You grin, imagining a ceramic baby, silent and still. The master beckons you to a low bench. He takes the pillow, runs a fine blade along its edge, removing any stray clay. He sets it before you, then gestures for you to lie back. You settle, feeling the pillow's curve match your neck's hollow. The cool clay touches your skin, sending a soft shiver through your shoulders. He sprinkles a few drops of warm water on the pillow, activating tiny pores that release the faint scent of sage and thyme mixed within the clay. You close your eyes, recalling the chanting priests from earlier. The same ritual murmurs echo in your mind, tying your present comfort to that first enchantment of sleep. A breath escapes you long and slow. The workshop noise recedes, hammering tools and scraping wheels, fading into distance. Your cheek rests on the pillow's smooth surface, imprinting its pattern onto your dreams. You feel the structure beneath, a gentle lift under jaw and ear. You drift on memory, pictures of that riverside courtyard where you first tasted Moonlit potion. Now, you taste clay on your skin, earth's cradle around your head. A sense of connection deepens, threading you to countless sleepers who rose with dawn's first light. Some scholars date similar pillows to around 4,000 years ago, uncovered in royal tombs at Ur. This mainstream discovery highlights how vital sleep was deemed to kings and commoners alike. Fringe sources suggest that certain priests slept on pillows made from crushed lapis, lazuli, believed to channel celestial dreams. Though experts think the cost would have been prohibitive, you exhale, letting your body adjust, feeling the pillow's weight balance head and neck. Your mind sifts through impressions. Spinning wheels hum, goat hair ridges, honey glazes shine. You sense the unseen hands that guided the clay, every thumbprint and carving line a testament to devotion. A final murmur ripples through the workshop, the master's voice offering a brief blessing. May your dreams rise on silver wings. You lift your head, blink at him. He nods, pride in his faded eyes. You stand, pillow in hand, ready to carry this craft back to your own shelter. The air feels cooler now, night pressing in outside. You step beyond the workshop threshold, clutching the pillow as though it holds the night's promise. As you walk away, moonlight glints on the pillow's crescents. You recall how easily you slipped into slumber before, guided by that first infusion of herbs. Tonight, your rest will be shaped by clay and craftsmanship. You feel a thrill knowing that every contour under your head holds centuries of careful hands and sacred intention. You breathe the night air soft and still, your path lit by stars. The pillow at your side feels like a companion, silent yet wise. You begin the next leg of your journey, cradled by ancient earth and the quiet perseverance of Sumerian artisans, ready to dream Beneath their enduring legacy, you slip away from the kiln's warm glow. The clay pillows curve, resting against your ribs. Soft night wind brushes across your skin, carrying distant scents of date palms and drying reeds. You remember the shepherd's lullaby you heard at dawn, a melody now ringing in your mind. Each breath you take feels deliberate, an echo of that first potion's sweetness lingering on your tongue. A narrow path leads you down to the riverbank, where moonlight shimmers on slow currents. Reeds bend like silent sentinels, their hollow stems whispering of hidden treasures. You crouch beside a shallow pool, water clear enough to reveal smooth stones and tangled roots. The air tastes faintly of algae, cool and green, reminding you of the barley offering at the temple's altar. A cluster of lotus blossoms hovers at water's edge, petals pale as ghostly lanterns. You recall that Sumerian gardeners cultivated lotus for both food and ritual, its seeds sealing jars for feasts long past. Fringe accounts say lotus petals were sometimes plated with gold leaf, meant to dazzle the moon goddess herself, though experts think that practice may be legend. You gently pluck a few blossoms, wrapping them in palm frond leaves to preserve their dew-kissed freshness. Further upstream, you spy tall stalks crowned with golden heads of chamomile. The blossoms nod in the breeze, tiny suns swaying on green stems. You harvest handfuls of flower heads, crushing them between thumb and forefinger, releasing a sweetness tinged with apple. You inhale deeply, letting the aroma calm the flutter in your chest. Historians still argue whether chamomile's real sedative power came from its scent, or simply from ritual belief. Treading over slick river stones, your sandals slip on damp moss. You steady yourself, leaning on a cluster of poppy plants, white petals veined in crimson. The seed pods stand firm, like ancient goblets waiting to be tapped. You recall the elder's warning: coriander seeds stir restless dreams. Yet poppy seeds ease mind's chatter. You shake a seed capsule gently, loose grains drifting into your palm like pale sand. Beneath a date palm, you pause to savor a ripe fruit, its flesh sticky with sweetness. You taste memory in its syrup, images of that honey glaze on clay pillows rising in your mind. You press your forehead against the rough trunk, listening to the soft rustle of fronds overhead. A small lizard darts past its skin, mottled with ancient patterns, a creature unchanged since Sumer's first dawns. You gather a fistful of dried date pits, crushing them with a flat stone, yielding a bittersweet powder. The grindstone's circle echoes the pottery, wheels hum, binding craft and gathering in one motion. You note a scribe's tally from showing date harvests, fueled temple feasts, more than half the city's grain stores dedicated to offerings. Such records prove how vital dates were to Sumer's economy and rituals. You slip through a stand of tamarisk trees, their feathery branches rustling above. Beneath them, you find small clusters of salt-tolerant shrubs, whose roots release a faint tang. You scrape away the earth, revealing crusty crystals you crush and add to your bundle. Fringe lore claims these saline shards mimic tears, invoking morning's lullaby for troubled sleepers. Though experts think that's fanciful, moonlight catches on pale roots buried near the tamarisk's base. You dig carefully, unearthing strands of valerian root, its aroma earthy and sharp. You rub a piece between your fingers, scent rising like distant thunder. You tuck it beside your lotus blossoms, knowing valerian's power to steady racing hearts. Historians still argue whether valerian's effect was chemical or purely ceremonial. A bark-clad basket swings from your shoulder, filled with gathered gifts of river and field. You pause at a weathered pillar, half buried in mud, its carvings depicting winged bulls. You trace the faded lines, remembering how that symbol promised rebirth in dreams. You tap a lotus petal on the stone, feeling its softness against cracking rock. As you rise, you almost stumble on a broken amphora, its fragments scattered like shards of memory. You piece together a shard, still bearing a smear of dark resin. You recall temple incense, burned storax, and myrrh resins imported from distant lands. Speaking of Sumer's broad trade networks, you scrape a sliver of resin, adding it to your basket. Its sticky weight, a promise of aromatic smoke. You wander down a hidden channel where crystal-clear springs bubble up from Earth's depths. Moss mats cushion your knees as you gather smooth pebbles, each stone warmed by subterranean currents, its heat lingering in your palm. You drop them gently into a clay bowl, planning to heat them later for a warming compress. Fringe writings claim hot stones placed on temples of the head cure nightmares, though experts think that story was poetic. A sudden rustle draws your gaze to a cluster of reed birds roosting nearby. Their feathers gleam in silver light, long necks curved like question marks. You remember laughter from the courtyard, children marveling at how birds nap perched on single legs. You pick a few downy feathers, tucking them into your bundle as tokens of lightness. You reach a bright patch of moonlit sand where tiny shells sparkle underfoot. You collect a few, their ridges worn smooth by time. These shells once lined pillows of priestesses, meant to sing softly as sleepers moved. You remember the fringe rumor of rattles in lion paw pillows, intended to ward off nightmares. Experts think those rattles were more decorative than functional. Your bundle now holds lotus blossoms, chamomile heads, poppy seeds, crushed date pits, valerian root, myrrh resin, salt crystals, pebbles, feathers, and shells. You pause, feeling the weight of centuries in your arms, each element a story, woven by hands you will never meet. The river's lullaby hums beneath your feet, guiding you back toward the workshop. As you retrace your steps, shadows shift across the plain, revealing a cluster of tamarisk silhouettes. The air holds an expectant hush, like the moment before the first sip of potion. You recall the elder's gaze, steady as stone, when she spoke of gathering ingredients by moonlight. Her words echo still, Each gift from earth weaves into dreams. Moonlight pools between reeds, creating silver pathways you follow without hesitation. The clay pillow under your arm rubs against your tunic, its promise of comfort, a steady pulse. You think of the chanting priests calling to the moon in that courtyard. The lotus you picked once floated in an offering basin there, now part of your own nightly ritual. At the workshop door you pause, breathing in the mingled scent of clay and botanicals. You enter, hands full of earth's bounty. The artisans glance up curiosity, lighting their faces. You place each item on a long bench, arranged like a still life painting of sleep. The master inspects your haul, nodding approvingly. He measures the chamomile and lotus, then crushes date pits, mixing powders into a shallow bowl. He adds drops of myrrh resin, warming pellets between finger and thumb until fragrant smoke rises. You sprinkle valerian root and poppy seeds, his skilled fingers balancing each pinch. Salt and shells follow, small crystals and smooth curves settling into the blend. The master holds a bronze mortar, its surface worn by untold uses. He pounds the mixture, stones grinding plant, and resin into a fragrant paste. You lean in, letting the aroma wash over you, smoky sweetness enfolding your senses. He murmurs blessings to Sin, the moon god, invoking lunar calm in each turn of the pestle. Historians still argue whether such invocations truly altered the potion's potency. At last, he drips the paste into a clay vial, sealing it with wax from temple candles. A final sprinkling of crushed shell dust gives the surface a faint shimmer, like stars trapped in clay. You lift the vial, feeling its weight promise of dream-laced sleep held within. You tuck the vial into your belt alongside the clay pillow. You recall the river's hush, lotus blossoms smiling in the dark. Ahead, the workshop door opens to lamplit benches and the murmur of artisans. Behind you, the field and river slumber under the moon's watchful eye. You step into the lamplight, bundle still in hand, vial at your side, clay pillow cradled close. The next ritual awaits, the brewing of moonlit waters and crushed herbs. But for now, you stand at the threshold between gathering and creation, poised between earth's gifts and the promise of rest. In the quiet hush, your heart beats in time with unseen waters. You feel the gentle tug of sleep's approaching tide, each gathered treasure ready to guide you there. And so, you prepare to stir, to craft that first elixir under the watchful gaze of crescent moons and ancient stone. You kneel before a low stone table, its surface worn smooth by centuries of ritual use. A shallow basin sits atop, filled with clear water drawn from the temple well. You feel the cool liquid brush your fingertips as you dip a clay ladle and pour a steady stream into a wider bowl. Moonlight filters through a narrow slit, casting a silver stripe across the basin's rim. You add crushed chamomile heads, their papery petals floating like pale boats. You inhale their scent, soft and apple sweet, already coaxing your heart toward calm. Mainstream records show the Sumerians valued chamomile as both tea and remedy. Nearly 4,000 years ago, a veteran brewer slides a reed spatula across the table, grabbing a pinch of finely ground poppy seeds. You release them into the water, tiny spores swirling before settling like starlight on a dark pond. Fringe legends claim those seeds came from poppies grown in shadowed groves protected by moonlit priestesses. Though experts think such tales embellish routine cultivation, the brewer tilts a small clay vial, draining a viscous resin into your bowl. The fluid glimmers like liquid amber as it coils through the water. You stir, gently watching strands of frankincense resin unravel under your hands. You recall that frankincense trade routes spanned from the Arabian Peninsula to Sumer by around 1900 BCE. Yet, historians still argue whether shipments reached temple stores directly or passed through intermediaries. Your fingers brush against a lump of pale powder, ground barley husks saved from the last harvest. You add it next, clouding the potion's clarity with a soft, milky swirl. You taste a grain on your tongue, earthy and faintly sweet. The brewer murmurs that barley's tryptophan-rich husks might subtly invite sleep. A wisp of steam rises, carrying a mingled aroma of blossoms and resin. You pause, letting the vapor soothe racing thoughts. The basin's surface ripples each time you stir, patterns tracing concentric circles like rippled dreams. Each motion feels deliberate, each breath synchronized to the ladle's arc. You scoop a clay cup, thick enough to hold warmth, yet delicate in form. You bring the potion to your lips, hesitate, and sip. A slow sweetness coats your tongue, herbal bitterness balanced by honeyed barley. The liquid drains smooth, leaving a faint oil-slick trace. Your eyelids flutter as warmth spreads from chest to limbs. The brewer slides over a small bowl filled with crushed valerian root. You take a pinch, dusting the rim of your cup. A fragrance of wet earth and musk wells up as you drink. Fringe whispers say valerian was once mixed with grave dust to bridge life and death in dreams. Though experts think such claims divert from its real properties, you lower the cup, savoring the aftertaste of dates and reeds. The basin's mixture shimmers before you, each ingredient suspended like memories in water. You notice tiny bubbles forming along the edges, protocol to let the potion rest for a heartbeat. You watch until the surface stills your breath, slowing in tandem. A soft chant begins, temple acolytes murmuring names of moon and dream. You feel the vibration in your chest, chanting older than any city's walls. You trace the cuneiform inscription on the basin's side for rest and revelation. The grooves under your finger feel reassuring, promise carved in clay. The brewer presses a fresh reed into your hand, its hollow tip dipped in honey and myrrh blend. You draw it across the potion's rim, coating the lip where your mouth will touch. The scent rises, sweet, smoky, and deep, anchoring you in anticipation. You lift the cup again, this time more confidently. You drink in long sips, letting the liquid settle in your belly, every swallow a gentle push toward surrender. The final drop leaves a memory of spice and dusk. You set the cup aside, ears attuned to the quiet sigh of the temple chambers. Your limbs grow heavier, each breath a measured wave. The basin before you seems distant, light fragments dancing across its surface. You stand headlight, mind hazy with warmth and calm. A final chant echoes. May your dreams reveal what daylight obscures. You turn, guided by tremors of sedative mist, toward the clay pillows, waiting beyond the stone threshold. Each step feels unhurried, as if the earth itself slows to let you pass. Historians still argue whether such concoctions altered brain waves or simply comforted through ritual. You reach the courtyard, pillows arranged under linen canopies, each one poised like a silent invitation. The moon, now high and full, watches from above, its glow pooling on the clay and cloth. You drape the potion vial across your chest, its weight a tether to the night. You recline, laying your head upon the nearest pillow, cool clay against skin. You inhale the mingled scent of reed, resin, and blossom. Feel the broth of ages steeping in your bones. Each breath guides you deeper toward the realm where sleep and dream entwine. Your vision blurs, pillars of moonlight merging into soft shapes. The last thing you sense is the basin's empty silhouette behind you. And then, silence. Your spirit drifts into the first swirls of Sumerian dreamscape, cradled by potion and clay. You step through a shadowed corridor, velvet banners whispering against limestone walls. Flickering brazier flames cast shifting patterns on low archways, guiding your steps. Cool stone gives way to polished alabaster floors, reflecting torchlight like distant stars. You feel the hush of royalty settling around you, every footfall muffled by rich woolen rugs. A pair of attendants in linen kilts pause, heads bowed before you pass. Their silent obedience humbles you, reminds you of the fragile order awaiting slumber. You ascend a short dais, pillars carved with scenes of goat hunts and harvest feasts, supporting a canopied alcove. The scent of cedar and incense drifts, soft and subtle, unfurling like a promise. Silken curtains fall around a bed of palm frond mats, layered with woven mats dyed deep indigo. You brush a fingertip over intricate geometric patterns, each stitch a testament to artisan skill. A clay pillow rests upon a folded woolen wrap, its horned cradle shape awaiting your neck. You recall that such pillow designs appear in reliefs dating to around 2500 BCE, underlining their courtly prestige. An attendant approaches, holding a bronze mirror, its surface burnished to a pearly sheen. You catch your reflection, eyes wide, cheeks flushed by corridor warmth. She traces a gentle line of kohl beneath your eyes, enhancing your gaze for the bedchamber's sovereign occupant. You marvel at this careful preparation, rituals steeped in ceremonial meaning. A faint rustle signals the princess's entrance, her sandals whispering on alabaster. She moves with cat-like grace, roped skirts brushing the floor, necklaces jangling like distant bells. Her dark hair falls in woven braids, interlaced with gold filaments, shimmering in torchlight. You notice her shoulders loose beneath a sheer shawl, exotic perfumes drifting from her skin. She greets you with a nod, voice soft as moonlight on water. "Come closer," she murmurs, her tone inviting beyond formality. You step forward, feeling the weight of palace curiosity. She gestures toward a low bench, seating you beside her as attendants withdraw. The room's hush deepens, every breath magnified against painted walls. You sense carvings of winged lions watching, symbols of protection and strength. The princess leans forward, lifting a small vial from a silver tray. Within, opalescent liquid swirls, honey-hued with floating petals. She uncorks it, wafting the aroma of lotus and myrrh. "Drink this," she beckons, "to share our realm of rest." Your hand tilts the tiny cup, hesitation melting as you inhale its gentle sweetness. The liquid glides warm across your tongue, consoling like a lullaby. You glance around, tapestries depicting river processions, boats gliding past ziggurats. Historical tablets record such pilgrimages to moon shrines, an enduring Sumerian tradition. Fringed tailies suggest these tapestries sometimes hid secret compartments, holding forbidden love letters. Experts think those rumors stem from modern imagination. The princess points toward a low platform, mattresses layered with fine wool. She moves gracefully, settling onto stacked cushions, beckoning you to follow. You recline, feeling the soft give beneath your weight. A clay pillow cradles your neck, its ridge aligning with your spine. She presses a silk mask into your hands, embroidered with lunar symbols. "Wear this," she whispers, "to shield against restless visions." You tie the silk band, eyes momentarily blind, senses heightened. Faint strains of harp music float, played by unseen hands. Curtains close, enveloping you in soft darkness. You feel the faint tremor of hidden fountains, water trickling behind walls, casting a calming rhythm. An attendant drapes a lightweight blanket over you, woven threads shimmering like dew. The princess's breath steadies beside you, rhythm matching your own. You drift between awareness and dream, memories of temple chants weaving through your mind. Historians still argue whether royal chambers enjoyed special acoustics, or if such claims were palace propaganda. Yet here you feel each note reverberate, soothing and precise. Shapes swirl behind your eyelids, tendrils of incense and moonlight. A soft voice murmurs the princess's words, threading through the haze. "Rest now," she coaxes. "Let dreams reveal truths." You sense a gentle pressure, hands smoothing your brow, applying a fragrant salve of crushed poppy and barley. The cool paste warms beneath your fingertips, anchoring you to calm. You breathe in, letting herbal scent drift into each lung. The canopy above you undulates, shadow patterns shifting like drifting clouds. You feel the bed's vibration, subtle, imperceptible trembling, echo of distant drums. Fringe accounts suggest these drums lulled weary watchers beyond the palace walls. Though experts cast doubt on such dramatic claims, your thoughts slow images of garden pavilions and moonlit courtyards flicker in your mind. You recall that elite Sumerian women often slept amid hanging gardens, symbols of fertility and luxury. The palace's bedchamber lacks such flora, but the princess's presence fills the void. You sense her warmth seeping through the air, sentinel and companion. A final hush falls. The servants leave, torches guttering to embers. Only your breath remains, a steady tide in the dark. A single lantern dims, its wick snarled like a sleeping creature. You drift, surfacing in a space where senses meld. You recall the clay pillow's ridges, each contour aligned to cradle your neck. You recall the perfume's sweetness, lotus petals entwined with cedar. You sense the salve's gentle burn, poppy's memory lingering on your skin. You cling to these impressions, lighthouses in converging tides of dream. Suddenly, a distant cry echoes, roll of drums muted by stone. You flinch, thoughts of palace guards rallying at dawn. But the sound fades, swallowed by spacious night. You realize the palace sleeps in unison, every corridor and chamber silent. Your body sags, yielding to gravity's invitation. Icy coolness seeps through the mask, balancing warmth below. Each breath lands softer, heartbeats threading into your dreams. You hover between hushed reality and unfolding vision. A faint glow appears, lantern light penetrating the mask's edge. You lift your hand, feeling silk against your fingertips. You pull the mask aside, revealing the princess's gentle smile. Her eyes glimmer, moonlight mirrored in irises dark as river mud. She extends a hand, offering a small clay tablet. Pressed into it, cuneiform inscriptions sing of night's sanctuary. You run a fingertip over the grooves, drawing comfort from ancient words. May this guide your dreams, she whispers, voice barely above breath. You nod, words lost in rising haze. You press the tablet to your chest, its cool surface grounding you. The princess withdraws, curtains drifting open like flower petals. Beyond, moonlight floods in silver tide over gold and marble. You recline once more, tablet resting on your heart. The final torch sputters, wall niches darkening like closed eyes. Silence reigns, palace and king and dawn held at bay. Your breath deepens, lungs filling with night's calm. You drift, fully slipping beneath the threshold of ordinary consciousness. Visions glow behind closed lids, temple pillars entwined with reeds. You sense voices, distant and intimate, guideposts in starlit seas. Historians still argue whether such dream guidance shaped Sumer's leadership or remained private ritual. Here, beneath palace arches and lunar beams, you surrender. Clay and silk cradle your body, herbal lullabies hum in blood. You traverse stitched patterns and carved lions, every detail weaving into dreams. You rest, ensconced in royal comfort, where myth and history entwine. Silence deepens, night's final gift, descending like soft snow. You breathe in, peace settling at your core. You yield completely, mind and body entwined in palace shadow. the royal bedchamber releases you, ushering you into the vast cathedral of sleep.